Hello and welcome to the Cardinals Scoreboard Show. This is Trey Graham along with Cardinals head football coach Matt Nally. We join you every Monday night at the Dugout Sports Grill. You're invited to join us Monday evenings at 5:30 p.m. for dinner here at the Z-Plex. Enjoy the great food and our friends at the Dugout. Coach Matt Nally, you want to say it?
Yeah, that's 11 in a row.
That's 11 in a row.
It's going to be 12, it's going to be 13, it's going to be 14.
That's
yes,
11
sir.
in a row.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about somebody else has a winning streak going right now,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, heck
We'll talk about that. Let's look back. First big victory over Terrell, 42-21. And our offensive player of the game, you'll get to meet in a little while, Jacob Cassano. Defensive player of the game, Josh Nicholas. Talk about those guys.
Well, I mean, when you talk about Jacob Cassano, you can't ask for a more selfless kid than Jake. And besides that, when you really think about his career, it's the playoffs is when he shows up. And, you know, we talk about kids that you can trust with if the game is on the line or you have to give the ball to. And Jacob's name is one of the top ones up there. So Jake is such a great kid. He's a silent leader, leads by example, does everything you could ever ask for a kid. And and I say it every week, but extremely well-raised, great kid. Parents did an unbelievable job raising that kid. I got to coach his older brother. He was a great kid as well. He spoke a little bit more than Jake did, but Jake's an unbelievable kiddo. And then Josh has really taken over a role. You know, it was Parrish and Jacob Fields back there last year, and Josh played. He played in the Midlothian Heritage game big time and some other games, and then he's just taken over this role and really ran with it. Josh is extremely physical. He's extremely driven, and that's the greatest thing about him is being around him and just seeing the drive from last season into this season, and just how much he's given for the team and how great of a teammate he is. So two great kids, going to be great adults, raised extremely well, and just super proud of them and glad they're a Melissa Cardinal.
It was a big win over Terrell. You had 485 yards total offense.
It's not bad.
About 60-40 pass to run. Only 3 penalties for 15 yards.
Hey,
so
making
you
progress.
Said clean it up.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Making progress.
Okay. Terrell was 2 of 12 passing.
Right.
The week before in their playoff victory, they completed 1 whole pass.
Right. Right.
That's just not their game.
No, you know, and I'm a really good friend with Coach Sedberry there at Terrell, so we had this discussion right after we played last year. He was thinking about doing some getting into more of the gun and more spread stuff, and I had done that out of the wing tee earlier on in my career. When I first came to Melissa and became the OC, that is kind of what I did. I ran the wing tee out of the spread, so he was going to go to that. He was going to be more wing tee out of the spread. And if you remember the first time we played them this year, they got in the gun some and did some of that and tried to do some of those things. So, but having the conversation before the game, and I just asked him, I was like, hey, you know, I mean, you were kind of going in that direction, and then in just the last few games, you just scrapped it completely. And he was like, this is our identity. This is who we are. This is who we're going to be. We're going to try to be that 3 yards in a cloud of dust and play extremely physical football. And the crazy thing is, I said this to a lot of people last week, is nowadays that offense is exotic. Like it's not anything. No one does it.
Exotic. It's just rare.
It's just no one. You know what I'm saying? No one does it. And I think when you're doing that and no one sees it, and I think that's the reason that we had success, because we had seen it earlier.
Right.
But you go and you talk to Texas High and you talk to Everman. They did not see that offense until they had to play them, and it's tough to simulate. So I told a reporter after the game, like, it usually takes you 2 or 3 series to kind of get the wind underneath your wings just to see it a little bit and kind of get used to it. Well, our kids had already seen it, and so that's why I believe we had early success stopping the run against them.
You have said many times it's hard to beat a team once.
Right.
It's really hard to beat a team twice.
Right. Right.
There were 3 rematches in the local area.
Right.
And all 3 winners of the first game won this rematch.
Right.
Argyle over Grapevine, Anna over Salina, and of course you defeated Terrell.
Right.
I'm going to ask you to comment on that after I throw out the stat for you that Anna defeated Salina in 1972.
Right.
And then in 2022, 50 years later,
Right.
and all they did is beat them twice.
Right.
Every
right.
50 years, they'll win 2 games, I guess. And so the Purple Dream is still alive.
Right.
Congratulations
Absolutely.
to Coach Parr,
Absolutely.
13-0.
Absolutely.
But were you surprised all 3 rematches went to the original winners?
No, sir. I mean, and the reason I say that, the only game that I thought might be close was the Anna Salina game, just because I knew that Salina can control the football and they try to get into the dead tee and run what they used to run back in the day. And Argyle, I mean, they're just getting more steam going.
They're 13-0 also.
Right. So, Grapevine's a great team, and I'm really good friends with Coach Alexander there. And but I knew that Argyle they're playing good football right now, and they had played Grapevine, and I don't want to use scores and whatnot, but they had kind of put it on Grapevine the first time. So when that happens, it's really tough to kind of bridge the gap. I mean, it's tough if you're getting beat by 2 or 3 scores, it's really tough the next time you play. How can you get 2 or 3 scores better?
You're going to say the same thing about Terrell.
Right. So, I mean, going into that game with Terrell, defensively, we didn't change our game plan from the first time we saw him. Now, kudos to Terrell. They changed some stuff defensively to kind of counter what we did to them the first time within our run game. So they did a really good job of stopping what we did in the run game, but we still had success in the pass game. But the Anna Salina game, I mean, we got to watch it when we're in the locker room at the Star. We got to watch it, not watching our phones and whatnot, but we had so much time. So it was kind of cool to root for them and whatnot and see that game unfold. So, but yeah, kudos to them. They're doing a great job. I spoke to Coach Parr this weekend. We talked about China Spring. I talked to the OC at Salina. I mean, obviously they're disappointed. Text Coach Rogers, and but yeah, I mean it's hard.
Coach Elliott.
Well, I did not talk to Coach Elliott.
I wondered about that.
He's a great guy, great coach, but I did not speak to him. But
Coach Rogers is Argyle. Coach Elliott is Salina. Just
yes.
so you know.
But I mean, it was the thing for me being in this area is really cool when someone that is your neighbor. And it is a rival.
All of those.
Right.
Argyle, Anna, Salina.
Right. But for someone that they're close to you and you're not playing, but they're my neighbor. So, like, I'm going to root for them. And, Coach Parr's done an unbelievable job, and they've got great players there. And it's just so fun to see them have success. I mean, last year, they're a game out of the playoffs. And, but, yeah, the Coyotes are getting after it right now.
13-0. The Purple people are happy up north right now. We're going to talk more about playoffs the 4th round in a minute. But as you have reviewed the brackets over the 3 rounds, of course, you hope to be right here where you are.
Right.
Have you seen any surprises in your bracket, 5A, D2, in the first 3 rounds?
No, sir. I mean, we thought that it would work out the way that's worked out. The only game that was close that, as a staff collectively, we only had one coach that thought it was going to go the other way was the Wichita Fall Rider Argyle game. That was only a 7-0 game. So that was the only game that I was like, okay, that's because I thought Argyle, because we had played Wichita Fall Rider in 7-on-7. Obviously, you don't get to see their big skill kids, but I thought, okay, they're not bad, but Argyle's probably going to be better. And but you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. You just don't. So that was pretty much the only game. But the whole bracket is compiling the way that I thought it would compile.
Good. We're going to take a break and talk more with Coach Matt Nally after this. As we go to the break, I will invite you and your family to join me and my family at First Melissa every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. You can find out a lot of information when you go to firstmelissa.com. You're watching the Cardinal Scoreboard show from the dugout. We'll take a break and come back and meet our offensive and defensive players of the game right after this. Welcome back to the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. You are joining us from the Dugout Sports Grill. You get to meet our offensive and defensive players of the week for the big playoff victory over Terrell. Our offensive player of the week was wide receiver Jacob Cassano. 4 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You were here last season.
Yes, sir.
As a player of the week of last season, so you're a senior now.
Yep.
What's different to being a senior compared to an underclassman?
I think just the role on the team, having to step up and be a leader this year.
Okay, how's that different? What have you had to do?
Just be more vocal and lead by example.
All right. And how's this season gone for you? Has it been what you expected?
It started off rough, but like last year we bounced back and came all the way to here now. So.
Well, it is very similar.
Yes, sir.
What is that? You guys waited 2 weeks and then turned on the switch,
I guess,
right?
yeah.
So why? What is that about?
I guess it was just testing the waters, new quarterback, new everything, a lot of new stuff going on.
Okay, you've been here a while.
Yes,
How long
sir.
have you lived in Melissa?
I've been here since I was 3 years old.
Okay, so you do have a lot of guys move in.
Yep.
Okay, Trevor Ham you mentioned,
Yep.
right? What is it like to get the new guys? How do you integrate them?
It's cool, but you have to build a relationship with them because you've never known them, and they don't know who you are, you don't know who they are. So
Well, how does that work?
just getting close with them, if it's outside of practice or during practice, making sure they trust you and everything.
Okay, what's your favorite class in school? I asked you that last year, right? What'd you say then?
I think I said sports medicine.
Okay, so now what's the answer?
I'll have to go with environmental science.
All right, why?
It's just cool to learn about the environment and what we're doing wrong and what we should fix.
Okay, so what do we need to fix?
Cut down on plastic usage.
Okay, as I sit here with my plastic cup, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you want to do after high school?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm trying to go to Arkansas, figure out my plan from there.
University of Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You have other friends that go
Yes,
there?
sir.
All right. Some former Cardinals go there,
Yep.
right? Okay, what do you want to major in?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, and after college, what's your career plan?
Undecided yet.
Okay. And talk about what the coaches have taught you this year and over the last few years.
They taught me to play my hardest, no matter what, no matter who we're going against. Play it's the hardest game.
Now, I don't think we're going to give any secrets here. You're not the biggest guy on the
Yep.
field, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that an advantage? Is it a disadvantage? Does it not matter? How do you deal with that?
I don't think it matters. It's just how hard you play.
Okay. And when you guys are scouting a defense, especially
Yep.
receivers and quarterbacks, what are you looking for?
We're looking for their best DB and their worst DB, so who we should go after.
Okay. And you've gotten good relationships with your fellow receivers. Carson
Yep.
Maynard got on TV,
Yep.
right? So is it a rivalry? Is it a friendship? What about all the receivers?
No, it's not a rivalry. We wish the best for each of us and each other.
And Coach Nally sitting right over there, so talk something really, really great about Coach Matt Nally.
He's an amazing coach. He's always been there for me no matter what.
Okay. And Jason Russell.
I love that guy.
Okay. You have any more to say than that? Okay. And what's your plan for the playoff run? This is a dream season
Yep.
so far. What's your anticipation going into this big game against South Oak Cliff?
Play it like any other game. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Stay even kill.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Our offensive player of the game for the victory over Terrell was wide receiver Jacob Cassano. We'll take a break and you'll get to meet our defensive player of the game right after this. Welcome back to the Dugout. You're watching this week's edition of the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. We broadcast every Monday night from the Dugout here at the Z-Plex, and you get to meet our offensive and defensive players of the week. A moment ago, you met Jacob Cassano, a wide receiver, and now you get to meet safety Josh Nicholas. He is a senior, was our defensive MVP for the victory over Terrell. 6 tackles, 4 solo tackles, and talk about the role the team is on right now.
Well, we're doing a good playoff run right now, and we got a tough game this week, but it's just being locked in for the playoffs and just going to state.
All right, I asked Jacob a minute ago, and I've asked Coach Nally 1,000 times. Started off the season 0-2, people a little bit worried, concerned, turned it all around on a great run. What changed?
Well, we just started practicing more and more, just fighting through the day, and we're just getting ready, and we still a lot to come.
All right. And you were the defensive player of the game for the victory over Terrell. That was the second time in the same season you played them. Is that different? What's different about playing a team twice in 1 year?
Well, we mostly know like their plays, but you never know. Like they could go out in different formations or different plays, but it's just like being more disciplined about their plays and how their players react and just all that stuff.
Did they surprise you in any way?
No, sir. They were just mostly the same plays, so we're just all used to it, and we just had a hold of them.
Okay. Have you ever been to the dugout before?
No, sir.
Pretty cool place.
It is pretty cool.
Yep. If you like TV, this is the place to come.
Yeah, lots of them, and
All
the baseball fields also.
That's true. Everything, tennis, everything's right here. So, what's your favorite class in school?
Well, right now I only have 4 classes, but I'll say I have a library aid class where I just like walk around the school, just giving all the teachers their stuff, seeing all the new teachers and stuff like that.
So your favorite class is a not class?
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to pick a real class, what would you pick?
I'll say environmental systems. We're just learning about like all the environment and how can we help out with the environment and stuff.
Okay. What's your plan after high school?
I plan to attend Collin for maybe a semester or a year just to save up a little money.
Okay.
And then probably transfer to some other college.
What do you want to do for a career?
Right now, I'm planning on a business major,
Okay.
and then we'll just see how far that goes.
How long have you lived in Melissa?
For all my life,
Really?
since kindergarten, yes, sir.
Really? Very good. Always been a Cardinal.
Yes, sir.
So you looked up to a bunch of those older guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? What was it like then, and now you're on that side?
Well, just seeing them, how when I was younger, how they developed, and then how good they were. But now, like, I just want to get better than them, and then let's win state.
Good. Talk about Coach Nate Hemsley.
He's a big character, but he's funny, but he also knows how to coach also. Like, we have our times where we just fool around and goof around, but mostly we're locked in and during practice, and he's a real good coach.
What makes a good defensive back?
Well, defensive back, you got to be real disciplined, and also you just got to be with the receivers, and like they do all their moves, but you just got to be following their hips so we can just cover them and just play the ball.
There's another guy that's sat in that chair a few times that plays next to you named Jacob Fields.
Yes, sir.
He's pretty good.
Yes, sir, he is.
Yeah? What have you learned from him?
Well, he's a great leader during practice. Me and him will help without all the younger guys because we'll have younger DBs also, and he's just been helping me out also since he's real good also, helping with my footwork, my hips, my backpedaling, and all that stuff.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our defensive player of the game for the playoff victory over Terrell was senior safety Josh Nicholas. We'll take a break and talk more with head coach Matt Nally right after this. Welcome back to the dugout. This is Trey Graham with Cardinals head football coach Matt Nally. You got to meet Jacob Cassano and Josh Nicholas, our players of the game for the victory over Terrell. Now we look ahead to this Friday game against the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. We said the Cardinals on an 11-game winning streak. Old Sock happens to be on a 10-game winning streak.
Right.
11-2 Melissa started 0-2, obviously. 10-3 Sock started 0-3.
Right.
And collectively won the last 21 games.
Right.
We're going to talk about the Bears in a minute, but first, we're going to do a little preview of the Elite Eight for the fans.
All right.
This is called the regional final round. It's called the fourth round, but if you're a basketball fan, this is the Elite Eight in 5A D2. So Region 1 final, Region 2, 3, 4 final. So we're going to let you be the analyst for a minute. All right. Region 1, Abilene Wiley, 10-3, versus Argyle Eagles, 13-0.
Well, Abilene Wiley has tradition, but obviously Argyle has tradition as well. And right now, I mean, they're the man right now. They're the guy that's on top of the mountain. So
Argyle, you mean?
Argyle. So I'm going to have to go with Argyle in that game. I think Argyle, what they do so well and is so hard to counteract is they have an unbelievable front on both sides of the football. And you know as well as I do, if you can win the line of scrimmage, there's a really good chance you're going to win the game. So I just don't see Abilene Wiley having enough up front to stop Argyle.
Okay. Region 2, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Region 3, Fort Bend Marshall, 12-1 versus Port Neches Groves, 11-2.
So Port Neches Grove has a brand new coach. Now he's the son of probably the Nick Saban of Texas high school football, and that's Katie's coach. I would probably have to go with Fort Bend Marshall just because of the fact they're so talented. They've been to this point before. Port Neches Grove is obviously, they have tradition and they've been to this point before, but not recent, whereas Fort Bend Marshall has. So I think that's going to be in Fort Bend Marshall's favor. But besides that, Fort Bend Marshall is extremely talented, extremely talented. So if I had to pick, I would say Fort Bend Marshall's probably going to win that game.
All right. Region 4, Liberty Hill, 12-1. Corpus Christi, Flower Bluff.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one.
10-3.
It's going to be a tough one. The reason I say it's a tough one is, so I got to watch a little bit of Flower Bluff on film, and that is the biggest team I've ever seen in the history of football. I could not believe they were that big. But Liberty Hill, once again, tradition. They've been to this point. They have an exotic offense that no one sees, so I think that it helps Liberty Hill. And besides that, they have turned it into a machine, but not like a machine, but like a cult following. Like they call it the Slot T Mafia. Like it is, but they run it so beautifully as well. So if I had to pick, I'm going to say Liberty Hill just because of experience, but it would not shock me if Flower Bluff won the game. Bluff, I can't say it right, won the game just because of pure mass. And, within that offense, if you can get penetration, you can do something to stop that offense. But, I'm going to have to go with Liberty Hill because of tradition. But, man, it would not shock me if it went the other way.
All right. Well, very good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now you have to go back to being a coach, okay?
Yeah, heck yeah.
All right, the Region 2 region final happens to be one that you have to, coach, right? The Melissa Cardinals, 11-2. We've already said the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears, 10-3. They've won 10 in a row, and all they did last year was win the state championship game.
Right.
So it's obvious, Elite Eight, fourth round. There's no pushovers left.
Right.
But you've got the exact opposite of the pushover.
Oh, absolutely. And I hate to quote Ric Flair, but if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, they're the man. People can talk about Argyle, they can talk about the Melissa Cardinals, they can talk about Fort Bend Marshall, but South Oak Cliff is the man. They still are holding the trophy. They still have the belt. So, and they're extremely talented, and they don't get enough credit of being extremely well coached. So, when you have a lot of talent and you're extremely well coached, you're going to be a really good team. So, I think that, the thing for our kids is we've been in this situation before. We have played really good teams before with a lot of talent and had success. So I'm really excited to play them. I know our kids are fired up to play them. I know I said this and people couldn't believe it, but, people were asking me, who would you rather play last week? They're like, who would you rather play, Midlothian Heritage or Sock? And people are expecting me to say Midlothian Heritage. And I was like, absolutely not, Sock. I would rather play Sock. Well, why? Well, why wouldn't I? I want to be the state champion. I want to play the best teams. I don't want someone to get lucky and have to play somebody. I want to play the best teams, and nothing against Midlothian Heritage. They're amazing. But Sock is who I would want to play, and I'm glad that we've got that team, and it's going to be a lot of fun playing against that talented team, but also a lot of fun coaching against that elite coaching staff as well.
We offer you insights on this program into Melissa football and really high school football. You really can't get anywhere else. There's a big debate, especially among the real insiders of high school football in Texas, and that is what they call urban teams, suburban teams, and rural teams. Mm-hmm. And within the 254 counties of the great state of Texas, you've got all kinds.
Right.
Talk about that discussion. You hear about it all the time, too. It's about facilities and budgets and staff size and school size and all of that.
Well, first off, with a DISD school, when it comes to money, they're going to have more money than we have to use resources and whatnot for their programs. Dallas
ISD, if my memory is right, they have 2,200 high school
Right.
football teams.
Right,
22 high schools in Dallas ISD.
Right, right. And, I mean, they take a lot of pride within their athletic department. Now, I mean, it went from football back in the 80s to kind of going into basketball, and then soccer has kind of turned it around again to make it, football is starting to be excited about the sport again. We had this conversation with the kids last week about being thankful and about being thankful about your situation. If it's the greatest situation ever, you need to be thankful. You might not be in the greatest situation, You might be in a situation where, your family is struggling financially or whatever the case may be, or, you might live with your aunt or your cousin or whatever. But you need to be thankful for the situation you are, but you need to be thankful because the good Lord above gives you a choice, and you get to choose your outcome. And I know this, watching film, those kids at South Oak Cliff and the other DISD schools that we've played, they've chosen a positive outcome. And, like I said, it's just super fun to watch any kid have success, and you enjoy just being a fan. I got a bunch of Longhorn fans on my coaching staff, and there's a bunch of kids from SOC that have committed to Texas, and they're just fans of those kids. And I think that's just life in general. If I choose to wake up and have a great attitude, I'm gonna have a great attitude. If I choose not to, I don't. And I think it's in a rural school or a suburban school or whatever the case may be. I think it's the actual person. It's not the environment that they're a part of. A lot of people like to say that about Carthage and their facilities and their money and all that stuff. That is a big, big deal. Don't get me wrong, but there is a reason last year China Springs beat them and won the state championship. They were extremely talented, but their locker room isn't any better than our junior high locker room. Their facility is not even close to our facility, and they beat Carthage because they all decided, hey, today is the day, and they pulled it off. So I think it's a personal choice, not an environmental choice.
You had a great atmosphere at the Star.
Oh my gosh, you
the
ain't
Ford
lying.
Center at the Star in
You
Frisco,
ain't lying.
and talk about how you got there, and then talk about the environment.
So before the Ennis game, I have a guy that does all my stadium stuff for me. So that was Coach Phelps. So before the Ennis game, we had to have a 4-team agreement to go to the Star the next week. Once again, I'm not going to name the team, but there was a team that was like, I'm not doing it. So 3 of us were for it. 1 of them was against it. And if one was against it, you couldn't do it. So we had no venue. No venue.
For the third round.
Before the third round, or for the third round. No venue. And so I was like, all right, no big deal. It's just like this week. I was like, Saturday, we'll figure it out. But I had spoken to Coach Sedberry at Terrell, and he was like, man, I want to play at the Star so bad. Yeah. And then, like, once again, this is like on a Wednesday of 2 weeks ago. And I was like, me too. Well, it's just the good Lord above putting his hands in it. Me and him had signed a contract to the Ford Center, the Star, but we both agreed to play there. And I had mine, and he had sent me his. So Friday night, the game is over. I immediately call him. Coach Phelps had told me, hey, the Star is still open. So I immediately called him, hey, man, do you want to play at the Star? And he said yes. So I had it on my phone. I sent it to the Star, our agreement and his agreement. And, Coach Phelps got it done. So that's how it came about. If we would have played Everman, it probably wouldn't have happened. But it's like I said, the good Lord above, helped out, and that's where we played. And it was unbelievable. Like, it was the greatest experience. I know for a high school kid, but even for the coaching staff, like, they were very strict on the rules and whatnot, but it was the environment in the locker room, walking out to the locker room, pregame, the whole thing was an experience that I know for me personally, I'll never forget. But as a high school player, oh my goodness gracious. To me, it was the greatest thing for those kids and what they got to experience that night.
And this Friday against South Oak Cliff, you're playing at another interesting place.
Right.
It's now called Choctaw Stadium.
Right.
All right?
Right.
You probably know it as the ballpark in Arlington.
Right.
The former home of the Texas Rangers before they built the current new baseball field. So you're playing football in a baseball field.
Right.
In Arlington.
Right.
and talk about how that one arranged and how you're looking forward to this environment.
Yeah. So after the game, after the Terrell game, Coach Stinton was on the phone with the DISD athletic director. And, they were kind of negotiating before me and Coach Todd started negotiating. So I like things to line up. I'm a schedule guy. So the state championship is on a Friday. So I want everything to line up to that Friday from here on out. If it was on a Saturday, I would want to play on a Saturday from here on out. But it's a Friday, so I want to play on a Friday from here on out. So I was 100%, I wanted to play on Friday. And they wanted to play on Saturday. And I was very stern, and my feet were in the dirt, and I wasn't going to get away from it. I was playing on Friday night. So I said, I'm going to play on Friday. We'll flip for it. And that's what normally what happens if you have a discrepancy. And he was like, nope, we'll play on Friday. And then we started talking about stadiums. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, we had Prosper, we had South Lake Carroll, and they brought up Choctaw. And when he brought that up, there's 3 or 4 coaches that I knew had played there. And I was really nervous because, you see it online and because I want the fans to be involved as well. See it online, it was kind of just weird.
Again, you're playing football in a baseball
Right,
stadium,
right.
so the arrangement of the field is a little different.
It's odd.
Yes.
And but I wanted the fans and the band and people like that to be involved. So I called 3 or 4 guys that I really trusted who had played there before, and they all said the same thing. It's amazing, unbelievable experience. The kids will love it. So that was a selling point. And then Coach Russell, who is a baseball guy, he said, hey, home run porch is kind of swirls, I think. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want any swirling. I don't want anything to do with the wind, So I called a couple more coaches who were an air raid team that threw it around a lot that had played there and asked them about the wind. And they both said, there is no wind. You're good. So I reassured Coach Russell, hey, man, there's no wind. It'll be fine. So when I got that, I called Coach Todd, and we'll play at Choctaw, but he wanted to be the home team. Well, that was a whole thing too, because I wanted to be the home team. I'm driving further and whatnot, and then I got online and looked at the way the stadium's set up, and then Coach Stinton did some research, and it turns out that the visitor has the better stands and whatnot for the fans and the band. So I was like, cool, we will be the away team. You can be the visiting team.
Home team.
The home team. And so that's really how that all worked out. But it was an easy process with them. Sometimes it can be tough. Sometimes coaches are really tough to work with. Coach Todd at SOC, extremely professional, and it was one of the easiest negotiations I've ever had when it comes to a playoff game. But they came up with it, and like I said, I had Prosper in South Lake Carroll in Plano, and he was like, hey man, let's just play at Choctaw. I've never played there before. Let's do it. And I was like, I've never played there before. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls,
right.
Before I say yes to that. So, but I hope, we looked at it again today as a coaching staff, and my big deal is obviously you hope for a win, and you hope for, the field surface to be playable or really good, playable and whatnot. But I just hope the kids have a really fun experience, and they can say, hey, I've done that. I've been there, and it's really cool. So, but yeah, that's how that happened.
Kickoff is Friday night, 7:30 at Choctaw Stadium in Arlington.
Thursday.
No,
I'm
it's
just
not.
kidding.
It's not. Don't listen to him. It is Friday, and really Friday, and be there on Friday. 7:30 kickoff, not Thursday. Friday, 7:30 kickoff, 7 o'clock pregame show on the Melissa Cardinals Network, on the radio side, and NFHS if you're on the video stream side as well. The Elite 8 round, Melissa Cardinals and the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. And the last question for you. Pick your cliche. This is do or die, win or
Right.
go home.
Right.
Really, season's going to continue at 10 p.m. Friday night,
Right.
or it's going to end
Right.
at 10 p.m. Friday night. How do you prepare yourself and the team for that?
The thing is that when I spoke to the team Saturday, we're not going to buy into the shock the world thing. That to me is that's a cliche, and we're not shocking nobody. We're going to go do what we do, and we're going to go take care of business. When you prepare yourself, you always prepare to win. And that's the whole situation. That's why I believe it's so hard when you do get to this point and you lose, because of the fact of you see the kids' emotions and you see the coaches, like you just know what everyone's been through, and you get to this point, you're so close, and then it doesn't work out your way. But in preparation, like, you're preparing to win, and everything, you're not even thinking about the alternative to that. So the cliche that I would use at this point in time is we're going to
Just
Arlington.
win, baby.
Yeah, just win, baby. We're going to Arlington, and the train's coming through, and socks on the rails. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what we're thinking right now. Are they an unbelievable opponent? Absolutely. But like I told the kids, so are we. We're an unbelievable opponent as well. So I don't think that they're taking us lightly, and we're obviously not taking them lightly. But yeah, just win, baby. Just win. So, but yeah, yes, sir.
Melissa Cardinals on an 11-game winning streak. Sock Golden Bears on a 10-game winning streak, and they have reached the Elite Eight, the regional final, this Friday, 7:30 kickoff, Choctaw Stadium in Arlington. 7 o'clock pregame show. Coach Kenny Deal and I will join you on the Melissa Cardinals Network. And we want to thank the Dugout for hosting us every Monday night. Thanks to Jacob Cassano and Josh Nicholas for joining us earlier in the program. We do invite you and your family to First Melissa this Sunday morning. Go to firstmelissa.com to find out more. We will see you on Friday night in Arlington. For Coach Matt Nally, this is Trey Graham saying good night from the Dugout.